Well, India's trade deficit in February has narrowed to its lowest levels in the last 17 months. The gap in the February, in fact, fell below the 10 billion mark from nearly $15 billion that was clocked in February. Now, a 2.4% rise in exports, coupled with a 5% drop in imports, they were the key reasons for this reading. That's not all, though. Gold imports in February are down nearly around 11%, and oil imports are down nearly around 8% odd. But moving on then, a big setback for Anil Ambani and Reliance Communications in the Ericsson repayment case. The NCLAT has refused to direct SBI to release IT refund of 260 crore rupees to allow Reliance Communications to repay Ericsson. Ashmit Kumar filed this report earlier.
Well, to begin with, let's just give our viewers the benefit of perspective. Keep in mind that on February 20th, that's almost a month back, is when the Apex Court had directed RCom to, in fact, pay up the amount of 550-odd crore rupees to Ericsson, failing which Anil Ambani would be in contempt and that he would have to go to jail. That was the sum and substance of the order passed on February 20th. Keep in mind that the deadline for that runs out in just a couple of days from now. March 19th is the deadline. Now, in pursuance of that, 118 crore rupees has already been paid. Now, from the balance money, what had essentially happened is that RCom had made an appeal before the NCLAT for taking out 260 crore rupees of IT refunds, which were resting with SBI, to use that to repay Ericsson. SBI had clearly opposed that. That was the stance that the SBI had taken. Now, after hearing all the arguments, what we understand is that today the NCLAT passed its judgment saying, we just don't seem to have the necessary jurisdiction to pass orders. We're not passing any directions. And by doing so, NCLAT has clearly held that it is not putting any conditions, any directions on the SBI to release that amount of 260 crore rupees. Having said that, what the NCLAT has also, in fact, observed as a part of its judgment is that ideally, all the parties should come together and honor the commitment that was made to Ericsson, and that is something that should come through, failing which, if that does not happen, NCLAT will be left with no option but to, in fact, initiate IBC proceedings against RCom. Having said that, there is also perhaps a window that has been opened by the NCLAT. The NCLAT has said that the Apex Court, the Supreme Court, is the one that has the appropriate jurisdiction, and that's perhaps a place where Anil Ambani as well as RCom should try their luck. As of right now, as far as the appellate tribunal is concerned, NCLAT is shrugging its shoulders, saying, sorry, we can't help you. They can't order the release of the 260 crore rupees. So this essentially means mounting troubles. There is just one working day available between now and March 19th for RCom, as well as Anil Ambani, to move the Apex Court and perhaps get some relief going forward for making that payment to Ericsson.
Well, on to some update in the SR Steel hearing at the NCLAT. Now, there's a tug-of-war between the lenders and the NCLAT batting for the operational creditors. Here's another report from Ashmit himself.
Indeed, again, a tug-of-war before the NCLAT. The NCLAT has, in fact, given a formula towards addressing those concerns. We'll come to that in just a bit. But first, the entire appeal that was before the NCLAT was on account of SR promoters challenging the Arts Law bid of 42,000 crore rupees. Now, towards that extent, the NCLAT made a very curt observation using very sharp language that this offer by the promoters is bad, if not rotten. And with those words, in effect, not really taking a decision, setting aside the SR application, the SR promoters application, so to speak. With respect to the operational creditors, and this is where things got interesting, the NCLAT held that the principle of maximization works also for the operational creditors, that they too, in fact, should be given their due, that the current arrangement whereby they get only 4% of the entire bid is seemingly oppressive. And that's the language that he used. And with that, he has, in fact, asked the COC to amend the bid to work out a better division of the funds, failing which the NCLAT will then exercise its powers. And towards that extent, it's given a formula that 10% of the bid amount should, in fact, be reserved for the operational creditors. And with that, they have sent the matter back to the COC to consider and to come back on Monday, which is the next working day, March 18th. And then perhaps we can have this formula being thrashed out. On its part, the COC is opposing this formula outright, saying that the IBC mechanism is designed to ensure that secured financial creditors get their due. This is not a lottery system for the operational creditors, and that should be considered by the NCLAT. ASLR on its part is saying that this is our bid, either walk with it or reject it. That's for the COC to consider. So clearly now, all eyes now on March 18th to get more clarity on the way forward and whether or not this 10% formula is a workable one.
All right, then, time to slip in a short break. Up next, identification of new beneficiaries under the PM Kisan scheme may be possible only after the elections. More on this when we return.